Alright guys, so the first in the whole world Hoback Auto. Look at that. Works good. It's my first button lock. It was not as bad as I thought it would be. There is like no information on building a button lock on the internet. I'm kind of surprised. But maybe that's because it's fairly simple. All in all though, I actually think a button lock may be stronger than a frame lock just because there's a solid pin that's pushing behind the blade. But it's pretty cool. Turned out pretty good. I'll show you how it all works. If I do end up selling these, I won't be selling them as automatics. I'll be selling them as a push button convertible, kind of like the way Boker does it. But don't ask. I'm not going to put out a list. Nobody's getting on an email list or anything like that for it because I don't have time right now. This prototype is actually going out to be looked at by a big manufacturer, so I'll be praying about that. I don't know if I should really tell you who it is, so I'm just going to kind of keep that to myself for now. But yeah, going out there. This one, full titanium slabs, fully pocketed on the inside. It weighs as much as one with aluminum. 1/4-inch pivot, button, 3/16 stop pin in the open position. Blade stock is 155 thousandths, not quite as thick as I would like it, but I couldn't find any buttons that would allow for a bigger one. I'm gonna have to start making my own. Blade steel is Takefu Specialty Metals VG10, so pretty cool stuff. Rockwell 62. Pretty slick. It's a sandblast finish with a acid dip, so it turned nice dark charcoal. And then 3D pocketing on the blade, both sides. Some milling on the inside. And I'll show you the inner workings of it in just a second. Okay. Sorry, had to swap batteries. Just gonna get the fairly standard pocket clip. I think I'm gonna actually redo these here shortly. I'm kind of steering away from the bent one. I think I may 3D machine them at a solid 3/16 stock. So you may see these go the way of the Dodo. But yeah, let's take this thing apart and I'll show you how it looks. Got a couple of new design things that I did with this knife. Not only just the button lock, but things that'll transfer into the new knife designs. I think I learn something new every time I build a knife, but I just got a couple of little things to do to this before it's finished and it ships out. But hopefully you can see this. The backspacer gets pinned into place and then it screws in. Makes more consistent, makes it stronger. So that's something new. Little 1/16 inch pins hold it in position. Adjusted the way I'm doing the pocketing on the inside. That pocketing is actually 80 thousandths thick, so this web is only 80 thousandths, I think, 60 or 80 thousandths thick, but these bosses all the way around add the strength, so this frame weighs nothing. This is an Inlet Bearing. Not sure if this has been done. Let me zoom out so it will focus. Maybe? There we go. So I lapped this bearing surface in, so I pocketed this. This bearing is 95 thousandths thick. I pocketed the frame 80 thousandths, so there's a 15 thousandths washer, so to speak. You can just see the lip right there that raises the blade up off the surface. The button also rides in bearing material, which makes it smoother, unlike a lot of frame locks where they just machine away the material on the frame and leave a 15 thousandths boss, and then everything rides on whatever the frame material is, whether it's titanium or aluminum. I know some guys use IKBS. I may switch over to that, I'm not sure. But my button rides in bronze phosphorus, which is nice, so it makes it smoother, and the blade rides on bronze phosphorus, so nice and smooth. Just some 256 screws that hold it in. It's not press fit, it just drops in, so it's its own assembly, but it's sandwiched from the pivot, so this can never come out. The screws just kind of locate it, keep it from rotating axially. And then come out here. Same thing on the other side. Just a typical button lock setup. Let me pull this all apart here and I'll show you. Okay, so knife kit's button. I just went through and chucked it in the mill and like a lathe and polished everything so it's nice and smooth. This is something that's a little different compared to a lot of places. This spring is actually captured underneath the bearing, so it doesn't come out when you pull it all apart. I just like captured things. Let me pop the pivot out of there. The new anti-rotation pivot is set up in there, and then the spring doesn't come out. So you just loosen this up, and the spring will pull out. When you want it back in, you just pop it back in and tighten it down. If I do end up selling these, they won't be sold as automatics. They'll be sold as button locks, convertible, I suppose. So you could probably hit up Knife Kits and order this spring, pop it in there, and you're good to go. That way I'm not liable for all the automatic crap that goes along with it, because people are scared of it, even though my flipper is actually open faster. So yeah, I need to swap this spring. It's a Knife Kit spring. I think it's a high torque. I need to go with the mega spring because this blade is huge compared to most autos. I mean, it's 4 inches and 155 thousandths thick, so it's fairly heavy even with the pocketing and the length. So I'd like it to come out a little faster. So yeah, that's the inner workings. The button worked way better than I thought it would. I've been pretty stoked about that. Let me zoom in for you. So I've been pretty excited about all this. I had to stop the A8s and the A15 production and do this because I had the last minute call, hey, we need a prototype like ASAP. We're gonna take it. We need it by the 20th. So they gave me like 4 days to build this thing. So this knife has got 20 hours just into itself. As you can see from everything else, I've still got to finish the 8s and A15s. I just needed a couple days to do this. So sorry for the delay, guys, on the guys that are waiting for A8s and A15s. It was just something that needed to be done. So yeah, turned out pretty good. I'm excited. I'm just gonna finish up a couple of things, etch the logo. I just finished cutting the screws down the length. So yeah, I got 2 of these that I'm making, one for myself, one to ship out as a prototype. If it comes back, I may sell it. They're lefties. That's another thing I forgot to mention. I most of the time I prototype in lefty, so giggity. Now, I don't think I've ever seen a left-handed button lock, so that's kind of cool. I know ambidextrous ones out there, but I don't know. I'm not super big into the button lock world, so I don't know. Maybe there are lefties out there, but I've never seen one. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. So that's what I've been doing the last 18 hours a day for the last 3 days, so I'm a little wiped, if you couldn't tell. The A15s, A8s coming right along. They're about finished up. I'm just gonna profile. Blades are all ground in here. Just finishing that. I've got a couple of frames that I screwed up and I had to rebuild, so I'm finishing the back sides of those today. I just had to pull them off the mill. They're right down there. So I'm gonna toss that fixture back up here on this disaster and get them machined out today. Then I'm gonna machine the inlays and get these suckers cranked out. I know you guys are excited for them. Sorry I'm so slow. It's just the story of every knife maker, I bet, is just being slow. It's really hard to tell how long it's going to take to do things sometimes. Even though CNC machining, you get time frames and you get told how long it's supposed to take, it always ends up taking longer between tool changes and fixturing, and then every time you change a fixture you got to clean the mill so that you don't get chips underneath of it and cause it to be out of tram. Just lots of stuff. And 30 pounds of titanium chips in the mill need to be cleaned out once a week. And surface grinding takes forever, so you guys know how it goes. So sorry for the delays. It's always hard to give people exact time frames when you're making things by hand. I don't know how manufacturers do it. But yeah, it may be a little bit shorter video this week or this month, I don't know. Just because I've been so busy, I haven't had time to do a lot of video stuff. Let's see. Other than that, there's nothing new going on. It's just wiped out from doing this bad boy. So, alright guys, I'll come back to you when something new happens. Okay, so I figured I'd show y'all how I do grinding. Got a A8 blade here that I'm finishing up grinding. It's already surface ground and it's rough machined. You can see the lines in it there. That edge is nice and thick. So I send them out like this after to heat treat, and then I grind them hard. It's 188 thousandths thick. Hopefully you can see it. I've center lined the center of the bevel all the way to the tip, and then also on the top so I can see it. So I'm going to swap belts. You can probably see my coolant kicking up right there. I'll show you what I do. I just swapped. This is a 120 grit belt. I use VSMs from True Grit. What I'll do is take a piece of metal and break the edge so that it doesn't cut into the steel with a square edge. It'll round over. And then I'll show you how I grind. I grind backwards compared to most people. I grind the edge down. Sorry about the noise. I got the mill running too. I don't normally do stuff in the videos like this just because the grinding side of it, most people know already, but I've had a lot of people lately ask me how I grind, so I figured I'd show you. Hopefully you'll be able to see it okay. We'll see. It takes me about, I don't know, 5-6 minutes, I guess, maybe a little longer. We'll see. What I break the edge with. And I just put a little handle on there just so I got something to hold on to. Works pretty good. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is I'm establishing the bevel where I want it and bringing the plunge back to where I want it. If you look on this side, it's right here. I bring it back to about there, and then I'll establish it to my center line, and then I'll work it up. I grind edge down, so it makes it a little weird for you guys, I'm sure. Okay, so now you can see I've got the flat roughly put into place. It'll come up a little bit higher. I grind weak hand first. That gives me something to work off of, and then I'll grind the left hand side, my strong side, since I'm a lefty. I've got the plunge worked in real nice. The height will come up a little bit, and I'm right at my center mark line. You probably won't be able to see it, but yeah, I'm right at that edge. I grind flats first, and then I come back through and grind the tips. It allows me to use the same belt. I grind the flats, it doesn't put divots in the belt, and then when I do the tip, it puts divots in the belt, so it helps to do that first, do the flats first for me. So I'll grind this other side real quick, and then what I'm going to do is I'll grind this to where I want the bevel to be. I'll flip back to the other side and make sure I get this one nice and even, get the plunge squared away, and then I'll grind the tip into it. once in a while I just like to clean the belt off, splash water on the bottom, gets the crap out of the belt. When I push into the belt, I'm pushing pretty hard. This whole grinder with the stand and everything probably weighs about 150, 200 pounds. And it moves quite a bit when I push on it. So I'm probably running about 2,000 surface feet per minute on the belt speed with a 3-horse motor. The only way I can do that is with coolant, and I'm pushing pretty good on it. So, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I like to sight down the tip of the, look straight at it, and you can see the bevels on both sides. That gives me a good indicator of where I need to be. Also, if you just take your fingernail, run it up to the edge on both sides, and compare fingernails, you can see they're pretty much even there. Now what I'm going to do is clean up that plunge. This side needs to come in just a little bit more to make them nice and dead even. And that edge is about, I don't know, 6-7 thousandths thick. About perfect. So after I get the plunge worked, I'll start grinding the tip. Alright, got the plunges worked in nice and even on both sides. Probably can't really see it, but okay, onto the tip. So, a lot of people have questions about how to grind the tip in. You can do it a whole bunch of different ways. I like to kind of make the tip bulbous, I guess it would be like a flame. It would bulbs out in it. Tip gives a stronger tip, like a spear point almost. It's still a flat grind, but I roll it. So how I do that is I push in, and then I pull my tail end out and tilt up. Hard to explain, but a lot of it's through experience. And I work the tip first at the top, and then bring the bevel down a little weird, but it works for me. And that's why I scribe the center line of the blade, because I work from the top, I can see where it's going. Work the bottom belly. I try to break the blade down into sections. I notice it's a lot easier than once you get good at grinding, it's not hard to blend all that together, but if you break it down into sections, it's easier to stay even and maintain accuracy. Grinding by hand is not inherently accurate, not compared to machining, so I try to do the best I can. Once I've got it all together, I'm going to blend it. There'll be little lines and stuff in there. So I'll work from the flat, bring it down, and do one smooth transition a couple of times. And that gives me a nice, even bevel. And nice, even bevel. Now that I got both tips ground in, I'll put my fingernail right on the edge of the bevel there and then check it to this one. And I got them pretty even first try. So okay, so I wanted to show you the transition. It's hard to see, but there's just a little bit of a weird transition line right here. So what I'll do is I'll do a smooth pass to clean that off. I take my tips all the way to 0, so there's actually a burr right here. Because it's a fairly stout tip, so I like to take it to a 0 edge. Makes better cutting performance. So I'll clean that off real fast and it'll be done. And voila, a finished bevel. Plunges are even on both sides. Sight line down the center is good. The tip is even on both sides. It's not more bulbous on one side than the other. Good to go. Now I'll just do the last one that I got sitting there, and we'll go to the horizontal grinder and finish up the flats and chamfer the edges so there's no sharp edges. Okay, so It's a shameless plug here. I have no affiliation with this company, but this stuff, Bow Shield T9, I got it a couple of months ago on recommendation from a couple of machinist forums. This stuff's awesome. It's ridiculously expensive. It's like 25 bucks a can, but it's like a rust corrosion protection, blah, 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 but it's got some wax in it. And I spray everything down with it, and this stuff works amazing. I mean, here in Texas, it's like 40, 50% humidity every day. And when it's 103 outside, I've got the mill running, it's evaporating coolant, I'm grinding, it's evaporating water. It's so humid in this shop that bare steel rusts instantly. This stuff has been my saving grace. So I don't know if you guys are considering it, get it. It works pretty good. When I'm in process, I just hose things off and then wipe it on. I don't wipe it off at all. It leaves kind of a sticky, waxy substance on the surface, but I'd rather deal with that than rust. But a finish knife, I'll coat it and then just let it sit for just 30 seconds and then wipe it off, and it works really well. All right, so some guys asked how I machine everything. Like I've considered going the way John Grimsmo does it, and I've talked to John quite a bit, and I'm good friends with him and everything, and just always back and forth with him, talking about machining stuff and miscellaneous crap. And the way he does it is he has tabs on all his frames, and I think he has them water jet. I think recently he switched over to doing them sheet style. And I didn't really want to build the fixtures that way because I do so many different models. I like to have fixtures that are kind of universal, so to speak. I am going to actually change this just a little bit. It was a little overkill having 60 bolts holding this down, whereas I only need 30. So I have that and put a center bolt in between each one of these, and it'll allow me to do a little bit larger frames because these ones are like right on the nose. These A15s, they're big. But basically I just put a perimeter, a 4-bolt perimeter around each frame, and then I leave tabs. Oops, sorry, camera's freaking out. These tabs hold everything in, so I do all the roughing operations first before I profile it, and then once I'm ready to profile, I'll run through to the about 25 thousandths below my chamfer depth, which is 90 thousandths. So say 125 thousandths, I'll profile with an 1/8 inch end mill, and then I'll come through with a chamfer mill and helical interpolate a chamfer all the way around, and then come through with a finished chamfer and finish it. And then when I flip the part, I leave tabs, and these tabs, you can just see them. There, I shoot for about 60 to 100 thousandths width and about 60 thousandths thickness. And when I'm done, you can just see the tab there. And what I do is I just cold chisel it out. I just have a sharp chisel, and I just whack them out real quick. And it takes me, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to knock out 15. But it gives me a lot of versatility. I have yet to have any problems with chatter or anything like that when I machine them this way, so it works really well. I do blades the same way. Allows me to utilize the entire working area of the Tormach, which is 10 inches by 18 inches. So I have George over at AMX Metals. He does all my titanium. He just cuts them into 10 by 18 inch sheets, 3/16 thick for me. He sends me a bunch of sheets. I bolt them onto the mill. It works pretty good. Same with Aldo. When he sends me steel, he just sends me 10 by 18 plates. Works really well. Let me swap batteries and I'll show you how to chisel them out. It's pretty fast. Alright, so the desk is a mess, and you probably are going to have a hard time seeing this, seeing as how my tripod's not high enough, but I'll just pop one out for you real quick. Voila! And that's it. They just pop out. I don't have to go to the bandsaw. I don't have to do anything. Works pretty good. Alright, so let me adjust my camera here. I am still working on A15s. Sorry, it's probably been a week since I turned the camera on. Need to get on top of that. I keep forgetting. Been so freaking busy. So what I'm doing now is fitting lock inserts. hardened steel. These ones are 3V, and it fits in this pocket here. Unfortunately, I had a miscalculation, and they were supposed to be a light press fit, but I ended up, I don't know if you can see this here, but there's a little bit of a lip right there. Well, I didn't cut that little bit of a lip there, so it kind of messed it up a little bit. So I'm hand fitting all these lock inserts with Yond 16th inch carbide flat nose burr, grinding it into place so they fit real good. Same thing with the A8s. I don't know how I managed to screw that up, but got it fixed. They fit nice, no slip or anything. Turned out pretty good, so I'm just doing that. I've got most of the A15s done. I got 4 left, and then I think I got 14 of the A8s left, so a few hours worth of work, and that'll get that squared away. So hope you guys enjoy these, because it was kind of a pain in the rear, but makes for an awesome knife. Over travel prevention, hardened steel insert. So with HRD ball bearings in the pivot and a steel lock insert, in all honesty, you'll probably sharpen the blade down to a nub before you wear the knife out, as long as you keep up with proper maintenance, oil, all that fun stuff, clean it every once in a while. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited to get this going, especially after I'm excited to wait a year or so and get some reviews on these after people have been using them. It should be pretty interesting. What else to show you? Got to entertain the masses here. I got so many freaking totes up here. Honestly, half the time I stare at it for 5 minutes trying to remember what I need to do next. I need a better organization system. So I am going to, after this batch is done, I'm going to build a box, kind of like a toolbox with 2-inch tall drawers from the top down to the bottom here, and I'll remove all the junk out from underneath there and make slider drawers that come out so I can fit, I don't know, 100, 200 knives at a time, maybe 400. Seeing as how I'm going to be working on or putting together all the mid-tech stuff, I'll probably need 400 spots. So yeah, organization is key for a good business. I got to work on that. I'm terrible about it. What else? Oh, my automatic. So I got the first one out. Let me set my tripod up here. Sorry. There we are. And now my camera decided to fall. There we go. Turn this light off, it might help. Hey, there we go. Now we can actually see. The first one went out to a company which will remain nameless, big company. And I haven't heard anything from them yet, but it went out last Friday, and honestly, they had to fly it out, so who knows if it's even there yet. I had to next day air it, because I spent like 18 hours a day for 4 days getting them done. Finished that first one, got it working good, shot it out in the mail, and then I've been kind of dinking around a few minutes at a time at this thing for the last week or so, just kind of fiddle-farting with it, and got it done. If I ever do end up selling these, they will be 0 options available for them finish-wise, and they will ship without springs. They won't be automatics. You'll have to convert it yourself with a $2 spring from Knife Kits. That simple. Just saves a lot of liability on my end, because there is a lot of liability with that. Texas, it's legal. They just, September 1st, this was kind of cool commemoration because of that. They just got rid of the automatic knife. They repealed the ban on them, which is awesome, so you can carry them, make them, all that fun stuff. Pretty cool. Still, interstate commerce, I believe, is got some funky restrictions behind it, so I don't ship automatics. What you choose to do with it when you get it in your grubby little hands, and call up Knife Kits and get the spring, which just so happens to be standardized for the fitting in here. That's your business, not mine. There will be a few little changes that I'm going to do to them. Don't ask to get on my order list. I'm not going to take orders for these. Please don't email me. Sorry guys, I've got a bajillion emails to do. My wife helps me do them, and it's just still, it's more than both of us can handle half the time. I did go to a stiffer spring on this one. I went with a I think it's a 0.43 diameter, circle diameter. I think it's like a 46 thousandths diameter wire, the Mega Torque spring, and it's freaking awesome. It's like, dude, this thing has got some power. It just makes me giggle every time I open it. It's actually got so much spring to it that I'm considering, I don't know, backing off or increasing the spring pressure on the button, because every once in a while I'll get some bounce and it actually won't lock because it hits so hard it bounces back before the lock has a chance to travel across, like right there, and then you click it into place and it locks. It's just hitting so hard that it bounces, which is kind of neat. The other spring didn't do that, so I'm going to try maybe find something middle of the road, or maybe I'll just stretch this spring a little bit so it's a little stiffer. That might help lock it into place, but it's pretty cool. This thing just cooks. Just amazing how fast it comes out of there. Still haven't had a chance to finish it. I'm going to acid stone wash the blade and all that fun stuff and fix the screws, but the Riddick edition. Thought it looked a little like the Necromancer type crap. I don't know. Sorry. Greasy and sweaty fingerprints all over this thing. It's a good thing I used VG10 for blade steel. Nice and stainless. First time working with VG10. Pretty cool stuff. It grinds really weird. I'm really not used to grinding it. It was strange. I grind like, say this A15 blade. It's 4V, same thickness. Or, well, actually, I'm sorry, this is a little thicker. It's 3/16 stock. This is 155 thousandths instead of 187. It's just what I could fit with the store-bought knife kit's button. I'd like to get a lathe and make some of my own buttons so I can use 3/16. But the steel, once it's hardened, it's like a freaking fillet knife. It's super flexible. When you grind it, you gotta be careful you don't flex it and create a divot in the blade. I've never had any other steel that I've ground that was like that, unless I was grinding like a kitchen knife or something that's really thin. So it was kind of neat. I've never dealt with that. Takes a decent edge. It takes a keen edge. I'm used to steels that get a lot harder. This is like 62. I've been dealing with a lot of like S125 and M4 and stuff like that that's in the 64, 65 range, even higher, 71 for that Rex 121. So it's a little different than what I've been used to lately. It's different than CPM 154 in that it sharpens differently. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I guess you'd probably know if you ever handled VG10. I got the steel from Takeofu when I was at Blade Show. Pretty cool stuff. So I'll keep you updated on how I like it. I sharpened it once. I've been using it for about a week, and so far so good. Still shaves hair, so can't beat that. And I'm abusive to things, so we'll see how it holds up. So on to fit and lock inserts, and I'll get back to you guys.